how to hear us. So, well done on surviving what has been a very difficult year. Accountancy practices have been at the forefront of delivering support to small businesses. So thank you very much for that. And now, thank you that you're putting yourself forward and first rather, and your business first. For this 1 hour, my aim is to show you how you can have the practice that you want for the rewards that rewards you for all the hard work that you have been putting into your practice. So let's forget for a moment the possible value of your business due to changes in entrepreneurs relief and taxation and anything else that might change the value of your practice. And let's think about what you want most out of your life and what you want most out of your business. And the two are very firmly linked, especially when you're running your own business and when you're running your own practice. And if you want to explore this more after we've spent the hour together, then please book in for a free virtual coffee. I will be asking Nicola if she can hear me at any point today to put the Calendly link into the chat. So we have done a few technical checks. We know that you guys can hear me, but that Nicola can't. So that's all good. Good
I
for
can
some of
now.
us.
Can now. I do apologise. I'm not quite sure what happened. That's never happened before. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Right. Let's now that Nicola's here, do you want to get started? Do you want to
Well, I feel my part's kind of slightly out of the way, isn't it? I just wanted to welcome you onto this webinar this morning. Thank you for giving up your valuable time. Angela has been working to put together a great webinar for you for the next hour so that you can take away some strategy today to implement into your business. So do enjoy. Angela, of course, is FCA herself, so she's run a practice and understands exactly the challenges that you face. So with no further ado, I'll pass over to Angela. And again, apologies.
Thank you, Nicola. It is the age we live in. It's a new phrase. You're on mute and zoomed out, and I think that's just what we're having to put up with at the moment. So as I was saying, you are at the forefront when you're running a small business of business help and business commitment. I will ask Nicola to put some links into the chat box of how to contact me at various points in the discussion. So, why did you start your own practice? We've heard quite a lot about why people start their own businesses. And I think it's probably the same reasons we set up our own practices. But probably we're wanting a little bit more money than we think we can get doing work. Maybe we want the freedom of working for ourselves. Maybe we've just had enough of being employed. We don't work well with our bosses or anything like that. Maybe you just want a challenge, a different challenge, something new that you're in control of. So why me? I started my practice when my children went to secondary school, and I needed to earn something, but I couldn't find a part-time job at the level of a qualified person. Before that, when they were at primary school, my focus was on them, and I was not. I was working part-time, as you'll see in a minute, but not. Not in as level that I could be. So wonder what anybody else's experiences are. Why did you start your practice? Jenny, you're probably the only person on here who's got their own practice at the moment. What did you, when you started your practice quite a long while ago, what was the reason for that?
It was for the freedom. I've never been a 9 to 5 person, although I do the work, but it's in my own way and own time. So I didn't like the restrictions. So
Right.
it was the freedom to be myself while doing the work I enjoy.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Glenn, you probably see a lot of practice owners. Have you seen anything else come out of why people start their own practices?
Yeah, I was actually speaking to one just the other day, and it's the freedom, but not so much in their maybe personal life, but in their professional life as well. Freedom to provide advice without restrictions, without covenants about who they can deal with, who they can't deal with, and the areas they can deal with. There was a large practice only recently that operated in the Northamptonshire area, but they couldn't actually do business 2 miles down the road in Milton Keynes postcode. So it's
Yeah.
and a change in practice, a change in direction in that sense, just gave the whole practice a bit of freedom. People going out by themselves aren't restricted by the things that are put in place by larger companies, i.e., maybe corporate partnerships or commercial agreements. You can work with this person, but you can't work with that person.
Yeah, that is so true. It is being able to control your own personal life that is so important, I think, to quite a lot of us. And the next question is, how is that working out for you? Are you satisfied with the way it's gone? Has it gone exactly as you planned it to go? Or are you less satisfied about where it's going? And maybe you don't need to answer that now, but just start thinking to yourself about, is this where I wanted to be? Is this when I first set up my practice, did I want to be where I am now? So let me just tell you a little bit about me. As Nicola said, I am an FCA, so I am with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. I qualified in a medium practice in 1992, and I started with a sole practitioner in London, and moved my training contract when I got married, and we moved out of the city. So I was in Old Bond Street for a little while. And then when I qualified, I went into business to work for a firm of motor factors, which I left when I had twins, and I was intending to go back. But when I found out I was having twins, I decided that to have some time off. And when I went back to work when they were just over one, as to KPMG as a senior, and then moved into internal audit with the AA and a small PLC. After the small PLC, something went wrong, and they have no longer exist. And I worked with FC part-time for a group of companies. When they started secondary school, that's, as I said, when I started my own practice. And that was a real journey for me. I hadn't ever run my own business before, and there was so much to learn. Not just about tax and accounting and all the things that we know that we need to learn about and know about in our professional lives, but how to run a business, how all the marketing, selling, the onboarding of customers, all the timekeeping, and all the other things, like making sure that you remember to buy milk for your clients, all of those things that you forget that you have to do as you're running your own small business. Credit control was one of the things that I found the hardest one for me to master. I knew the principles, obviously. I knew how to know when somebody owed me money, but I just didn't like asking for money. It's one of the first things that I outsourced. I sold my practice when it got to the stage where it was too big for me. I wanted to keep growing, but the only way I could keep growing was either take on a fee earner the same level as me, or to join with another practice. And I, part of me rebelled against joining with another practice, because I obviously wanted the freedom and to be in charge. So at that same time, I was offered a chance to become an FD for one of my clients, and that I decided that was where I was going to go. So I sold my practice and joined this company as an FD to get them to the level where they didn't need an FD anymore. They could survive on a very good external accountant and an FC and a bigger team. We started with half a half a bookkeeper, and we grew it to a team, an accounting team of 5 when I left. So it was a very, very interesting role, and I learned a lot. And then I was wondering what to do after that, and I became a senior partner with Action Coach, because one of the things I knew I loved about being a practice accountant was working with my clients. But one of the things I hated was we were always looking back into the past. And now with Action Coach, I have a chance to look to the future and to see and help businesses grow. And one of the things I would love to do in the East Midlands, which we are now living, previously we were in Berkshire, is to work with accountancy practices, because I think if accountancy practices can grow and work really efficiently and really well, then the whole of the economy in the East Midlands will grow and bloom as a result. Obviously, I can't work with every chartered accountant out there, so I'm going to be choosing a few. I'm working with a couple at the moment, and I just want a couple more to work with to start this process of regeneration. So I am a business coach first and foremost now, but I do have a strong background in accounting. I have started my own practice and I have sold it. But for this hour, and for the rest of the session, I'd like to for you to experience a little bit of coaching from me. So it's from this point of view that I'd like to approach our hour. So with your permission, that's where I'm coming from now. So what are all the things that you as practice owners, or Glenn, what are the things that your clients are seeing when you look at them? You know, there's so many demands on our time at the moment, and especially because two big things have happened. First of all, we've had the COVID crisis, and then secondly, we've had Brexit. Now, the two things have come at a perfect storm almost to really demand from you more. So your clients' needs have grown for these two areas. You know, we've had furlough. Nobody had even heard the word furlough before Richie Sunak put in the whole job retention scheme. We've had the loans, whether they're civil loans or other loans. We've had whole new need for finance that you're probably having to get involved with. Even just cash flow forecasting, helping your clients to work out where their money is going and what they need to do. And some of you have also had to deal with HR issues, maybe not the actual issues themselves, but trying to work out how much redundancy would cost if you went that route, or if your clients went that route. And at the same time, the practices themselves are facing all of those COVID problems of home working, ill staff, trying to do stuff remotely that, you know, never got done remotely. Audits, for example, can't now be done on client premises as easily as they could. And you perhaps may not want your staff to go out onto client premises. And the regulations are changing all of the time. One of my clients was quite shocked actually in April, because there was so much to learn, so much she had to keep up with. One of the things she was trying to do is decrease her hours, but actually because of all the extra research and training she needed to do, her hours just went through the roof in April and May of last year. And now we've got Brexit with all those last minute changes, all the regulations and the paperwork, which I don't know about you, but I'm just not even getting involved in because it's just too much for me to know about. But you guys are needing to know that. And you've got homeschooling, potentially. You're looking after friends, family, neighbours, and all the extended family. And we've just had January. So the fact that you're still here, you're still smiling, and you're still standing, we've got to offer our congratulations. So well done. Anything else? Have I missed anything? Are you juggling anything else that I have missed? No, I think I've probably got enough there. So when we're talking to business owners, there are three common frustrations, and you guys will see this time and time again, because you see it every day in your practice, what makes a successful business. But have you ever looked at whether that relates to your practice, whether actually, what you're doing in what you see in your clients, how that relates to you? Have you ever held the mirror up? Our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. We'll come on to that in a little bit. But these are the most common frustrations we see in business. Which one resonates most with you, if any? The first is time, where the owner is working too many hours in the business and therefore missing out on time with friends, family, and developing interests outside the business. The business does not work without the owner. The third is the team. These are the challenges you have recruiting the right people. The team doesn't perform to the level the business owner desires. And the third is money. The business doesn't generate the sales, the profits, and the cash the business owner desires or believes possible in their business. And I guess you've all seen that. So let's look in the mirror. Let's see what we're suffering from. So have you got a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you? So it's commercial in that all the gaps are filled. You're not constantly fighting fires. It's profitable. Well, you know what that means. You're actually making money and you're taking home money. You've got an enterprise that actually works. So it's all systems are in place. As again, no firefighting, no rubby running around, going mad. And it works without you. So you can step back and either run the business or you can, yes, I say step back, sell it, get something else. Because a business that works without you is going to be worth more than one that needs you in it if you are thinking of selling. Or how is that working for you? Because I've seen a lot of practices who are struggling with their time, who don't have anybody to pass the work on to, and therefore having to do everything themselves. So anything from the £10 type roles that you could pass over, but you're not, to the chargeable £500 an hour type work that you're struggling to fit in. So let's see if there's a better way. What I'd like you to do is to list all of the things that you love about your business, your practice, and all of the things that you don't love about your business or your practice. And I'm going to give you a minute just to drop that down on a bit of paper, just so that you've got it in front of you. Wonderful. Hopefully you've got some things jotted down on both sides of your business balance sheet. So a few things that I had when I was thinking of these, when I was thinking back to what my practice was like. I loved working with business owners. I've said that before. I really, really enjoyed it. What I hated was sometimes the indifference to the finances that people had. Oh, I trust you, Angela, just let me sign it and tell me how much tax to pay. But where they weren't interested really in what the numbers were telling them. I loved seeing my turnover rise, but when I saw my profits going down, that's not quite such a nice feeling. I loved working with some fabulous team members. I had some great couple of people that I worked with, but I did struggle sometimes with the training and competence issues that came with working with these people. I loved billing clients and receiving their money, but I hated doing timesheets. And I thought when I started my own business that I could get rid of timesheets because it was my business, and I soon realised that I needed them in the practice, so I had to start again. And it's a balance. Let's see if we can get this balanced. And you as accountants know more than anyone else that credits are not always bad and debits are not always good, especially when we're looking at the long-term effect in the business. You will understand that the status of a debit or a credit is on the perspective where you're looking from. So credit is great on the P&L, not so healthy on the balance sheet, but good on a bank statement. So when we're looking at your business and looking at your little balance sheet that you've just drawn up for your business, let's look at it from that perspective, because your list of problems could be seen as opportunities and your strengths are things that could cause issues in the future. If it's not balanced, then things will slip. If you're really good at attracting clients, but you're not so good at time management, then the whole things will become a problem for you. So in Action Coach, we have our 6-step framework. Now, this is a framework of fundamental truths about running a successful business. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to rate and improve each area of a business. So it's giving us some sort of matrix to work with, because we know, when you can see a business that's failing and when you can see a business that's successful, but sometimes you can't always pin it why that is so. So this framework allows us to go through very systematically why a business is not working as it should be, or where the areas are that they're doing fantastically and that they can leverage. So let's just run through these one at a time. The first is the mastery of the business, and the aim of this level is to eliminate chaos. So it's to stop you jumping from one crisis to another. Once you've got this basis worked out, then you can look at marketing. You can look at trying to get more cash in your business. And it's not so much just more, but it's predictable. So every area you are marketing and every area that you are using to generate clients is a predictable system that you can know where your clients are coming from. Now, most businesses cannot just work on the mastery without getting money in. Most businesses need money in from day one, or at least from day 30. So we need to be working on these two things together. Then once we know that we're going to get money and that we're okay, we can start putting systems in place. Now, some of these systems will have come already when you're looking at mastery, but this is the time to actually concentrate on, are all my systems okay? And systems can be as simple as a checklist. And I don't know about you, but I remember running a company's house checklist against every set of accounts that I was producing. And that was something that is just a checklist to ensure that you get a set of accounts that's compliant with company's law and everything else, so that you knew that what was coming out the end of your sausage machine was right. But it was a system, it was a checklist. Once you've got those sort of things in place, you can then start getting a different team in place. So you can start recruiting, not for what they know and how good they are at their job, but you can start recruiting for the attitude they have, for whether they fit within your culture. You can start recruiting for the future and knowing how to build your team. And of course, once you've got your systems and your team in place, that's the time where the magic starts to happen, and you can get synergy. If you want to open another branch, or if you want to have a bigger firm, you can do that. You can replicate. You know how to run a business. You've done it. You've got it. It's working. So you can do more. And that's the stage where you can decide, am I going to sell my business? Am I going to sell my practice? Am I going to bring in a general manager and actually have somebody else running my practice for me? And I'm just going to sit back and take the rewards. And that obviously is a personal decision that you can make, but it's looking at it in this systematic way that allows us to actually put those steps in place, one after the other, to get to the practice that you want. So let's look at this, these fundamentals. We're going to start with mastery, and the 4 building blocks in mastery are destination. Where are you going? Time. What are you doing with your time? Are you using it efficiently? Money. Do you know where your money is in your business? Do you know where it's hiding? But also KPIs. How is your business performing, and tracking the activity as well as the result, the outcome? So, for example, on my board in November and December, I used to have on the whiteboard all of the self-assessment clients that still had to be done. So I knew what was happening at every time. I had my list of, these are the ones that need to be done, these have been done, and where they were. So I could see, and that was my KPI for my self-assessment returns for the January deadline. And delivery is all tied up with your money as well. Sorry, your time and money, because obviously if you're not delivering, you are at risk. It's all of those things that your PPI protects you against, and making sure that you are delivering what the client needs when the client needs it, in a way that ensures that you aren't sued, or your client isn't fined, and your client doesn't go to jail. So that is, they're the basics. I'm going to have a quick look at destination, because this is where we always start. We always start by looking at what our client wants from their business. And we split it into the very short-term things and the longer-term things. So where do you want your business to be in 5 or 10 years' time? Now, obviously, at the moment, we're all stuck at home. So, it's a little bit difficult sometimes to imagine where you want to be or where you want to go, because I feel a little bit Groundhog Day, that this is going to continue forever and I can't see a way out. But when in my more sensible moments, I'm planning for the future. So in 5 years' time, I want to retire. I want to be able to step back and do this part-time, because I'm hoping at that stage I might have grandchildren to play with. So that's my 5-year goal. And in 10 years' time, I certainly do want to be fully retired. So where are you wanting to be? And if you know where you want to be, then you can run your practice accordingly. Because if you want to sell and you are relying on that income to fund your retirement, then what do you need that income to be? Let's look at the end result that we want. If your business is allowing, just bringing you in an income, and that's you're happy with that, and that's fine, and you've got other ways of funding your retirement, maybe you're taking the money out now to fund your retirement, and then you'll be running your business slightly differently. So and as you guys know, you will be looking at the balance sheet differently if you are depending on what you are looking to achieve. And there's one quote that is attributed to Walt Disney that I always look at in these situations when I'm looking at destination. And that is, whenever somebody asked him a question, can we do this? He always said, yes, if. Now, we don't always know what the if is, but if you know where you want to be, if you know what that question is, can we do this? The answer is always yes, if, and we have to work on finding what the if is. So rather than saying no because, and then a whole load of excuses, let's start when we're looking at our destination by saying yes, if. So the second building block that is really, really pertinent to accountants is time, because you guys are charging by the hour or the job. It doesn't matter. You're in the business of selling your time and your staff's time. So when we're looking at time in a accountancy practice, it's not just, you know, making sure you get the best use of your time, but it's also all tied up with the money and the delivery. In all businesses, the business owner needs to be doing those things that will bring the most value into the business, rather than, as I said earlier, the £10 jobs. But you guys are having to look all the time at your charge out rates and at your chargeable percentage, the time that you spent against what you can charge, your rechargeable time and percentages. And sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes, you know, the customer generally does make it difficult for you by not giving you all the information, by saying you one thing when you can see on the books it's completely different. And they couldn't find the time to talk to you properly, so you end up going over the deadlines and, you know, fines and penalties and just hassle. And their time, they're not using their time properly, and they're taking the time from you and stealing it from you. And quite often that causes you to go over budget on your job. But also there's other things that you might end up with. Your staff, how often have you seen a junior racing after that £5 that he couldn't find and digging down into rabbit holes and spending, I don't know, hundreds of pounds of their chargeable time looking for something you know isn't important? How often do you find yourself doing that? And sometimes, you know, sometimes this can be a good little comfort zone. If you're feeling stressed or something, you know, then diving into a bank wreck that you know you can solve in the end can sometimes just be that what you need to get you out of your stressed situation, because you've had to concentrate on something else. And people always overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. So looking at your time, looking at what you can do with your time, where you are using your time, is really, really important in a practice of accountants. Getting systems in place, because systems are one of the only, well, there's only two ways that you can get more time. One is by using it more efficiently, so you're not really getting more time, but you're using it more efficiently. And the second is by buying time in, bringing people in to help you. And one of the ways of using your time more efficiently is to prioritize. How many times in the last 6 months or so have you done something in your business that will lead to the growth of your business? And if you can just choose one thing to do each day that will move you towards the goals in your business and make sure that that one thing happens, that will ensure your success. By small incremental gains, or what Einstein calls compound interest, you will get to where you want to be. So that's the basics of business. But as I said to you, we can't be in business for any length of time without getting some income coming in, not unless you have got untapped resources elsewhere. And then really, you know, this is a hobby. Should you really be doing a tax return for it? So we're looking at marketing, and often we're looking at these things at the same time. So how much marketing do you guys do? Now, I know Glenn and Matoily Woods, they do quite a lot of marketing, but we've seen not a lot of marketing going on in the accountancy profession. They're obviously far too busy to be doing marketing. So what are you doing? Jenny, what are you doing in terms of marketing at the moment?
Well, I suppose I'm here perhaps under false pretenses, because I've decided that I'm going to retire at the 5th of April
Oh, this year.
this year.
Oh, congratulations. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's,
And it's been a long while coming, but anyway.
yeah.
And, so what I did do before I came to that point was have my own 20 odd clients, varying over different things which I dealt with personally, and then worked for somebody else doing tax returns,
Right.
which was very stressful. You mentioned January. And just to say, this is the first January I've had since self-assessment came in that I haven't had to work all the months.
Wow.
And it was very strange.
Mm.
So really, I'm just sort of coasting to the end. I never have done a lot of marketing, because I've always liked to have more than one source of income, even if it was from accountancy, if you understand me.
Yeah.
So that if one thing didn't work out, there was always something to fall back on.
Yeah. Very wise. And we have in Action Coach what we call the 10-legged table of marketing. So the idea is that you have as many different marketing strands as you can, so that if one leg of the table collapses, it's your whole business table isn't wobbly. So exactly that. Trying to get on. Well done for making that decision. I'm very envious. So let me just go through a little bit more about sales and marketing, and let's put some numbers on this. Now we are used to this being the beginning of our profit and loss account. We start always with a profit and loss with turnover. And that's fantastic, because that's what we're told to do. But actually, we can't do anything about turnover in our business. We can't just magically say turnover needs to increase. We have to do something about it. And turnover itself is made up of, as all of you will know, how many customers you've got, how much they spend with you in each transaction, and how often they spend that with you. So if we just put some simple numbers around this, if you have a turnover of 200,000, then this is one way that could be made up. 1,000 customers, on average spending 2 transactions with you a year, and on average spending £100 with you. That would be make up. There's all sorts of other ways that you can make that up, obviously. And these are just simple numbers that we can play with. But again, customers are not something you can just snap your fingers and you get. Customers are something that you have to work at getting. And the two things that you need in order to get customers, you need to get your leads up, and you need to get your conversion rate. So if you've got leads and you've got a conversion rate that is higher than 0, you will have customers. And what we do in Action Coach is we look at these activities, or the outcomes of activities that we can actually control, rather than looking at the numbers that we can't control, like the customers and the net sales. So what we want to do, and we have lots of strategies that we can do this with, is to up those different those component parts. So we're looking at the blue numbers that we're going to affect. And if I just times that by 10%, you guys are all money people, so I don't really need to go through this very slowly. You can see that we're actually getting this whole compound interest effect going on. So instead of 10%, if I'm putting 10% on everything, I'm not just getting the 10% increase in my outcomes, in my customers or my profit. So you can see there huge 40% 46% rise in net sales. And if we then start working on our gross profit and our costs, we've got quite a large, that's 61% increase in our gross profit. So you can see that is profit, that is pure profit, because there's no extra costs to come out of it. That's your 30,000 that you're going to use, well, to do what you like with. Some good holidays once we can get back to holidays. And which would you like? If you saw these on a P&L, which would you like to be the comparative and which would you like to be the current year? Marketing is all about numbers. It's all about knowing which numbers to look at, and it's all about knowing how to find them and how to work with them. It's putting in place the strategies that create this level of growth, and that's what we can help with. So talking about marketing then with Jenny just then, marketing is, as I say, trying to stand out from the crowd. And in the accountancy profession, business owners think all accountants are the same. We know that's from inside, we know that's completely rubbish. But if you went into a field of sheep, you probably wouldn't be able to tell one from another. Your farmer could, and the other sheep probably can. But to a business owner, one accountant is very similar to another. So what is it about you as the business owner of an accountancy practice that makes you stand out? How do we get that blue cross on your accountancy firm? So what is it that is different about you? And that's one of the things that we work through with our clients to try and get them to stand out, to try and get them to be the people of choice. And in this digital age, quite often, that's their website, that's their LinkedIn presence, that is going to be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anything else that Nicola knows more about than I do. But it's all of those things that I need to have in your practice to allow you to stand out a little bit more, rather than, as it was before, the sign on the high street. So that is me done. I just wonder now, if you think about your practice, and you know, obviously we're not in this situation with you, Jenny, but if you were going to grow your practice, you've now got a few more tools that allow you to do it.
Yeah.
And Glenn, hopefully you've seen a few more that you can you know, help with your clients when you see them.
Definitely.
A few things to show them. So if you would like to book in a chat with me, that's absolutely fine. I'd love to have a coffee with you just to see where you're going, what you're doing next, and how you got there. Just a little bit of, you know, well, you know, what were your experiences of how to be, you know, what your experience were in practice, Jenny, would be great. You know, looking at it from the end that you're looking at it now, you know, what would you have done differently? It'd be really interesting to see that. Or, you know, if there's any other people that you feel, actually, I've seen this working, I can see how it could work, then again, let me know. There's a few contact details there. How to find me. I have a feedback form that, are you able to put that in the chat?
Sadly, there's no chat.
No,
there's Q&A,
yes.
but I can certainly send out on an email afterwards, so they've got the link.
Okay, that's fantastic.
And we'll be able to follow up there.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I am